Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is on July 28th, 2023. It's on Friday and sunny outside. How are you spending Friday? Are you tired of the hotness? Please be hydrated and please watch out for developing heat stroke, okay? How are you spending Friday? Are you excited for weekends? Do you have a plan over the weekend? Or nothing to do? Or do you want to spend the day off on having a rest by sleeping a lot? The more we stack up the experience, the more we might be able to conquer our weaknesses. Maybe, perhaps, hopefully. The things I was very bad at were conquered by having the more experiences. Some of the things I was very bad at and felt nervous at were overcome, got over, conquered by having the experiences over and over again, time and time again. The territory was conquered by the military. The territory was conquered by the feudal lord in the past. The shogunate conquered all of the territories in early 17th century. The feudal lord, the famous feudal lord, succeeded in conquering all over the country, territories, in early 17th century. Introduced species are conquering the ecosystem in the river and other nature. Introduced species are conquering the ecosystem. Introduced species have the risk to conquer the ecosystem in the nature. Introduced species have the potential to conquer the ecosystem in nature, which is troublesome. It is problemsome. Troublesome, problem. Conquer. the way to conquer the things we are very bad at is to have the experiences over and over again, time and time again. Stacking up the experiences might be the only way to conquer the nervousness and so on, anxiety, uneasy, and so on, unrest. I wish I could have conquered in those days. I wish I could have conquered when I was in my teens. I wish I could have conquered. It was until recently that I could conquer regarding having the teeth treatment, because I do not like the sound, needles, and so on. It wasn't until recently. It wasn't until recently that I could conquer my teeth treatment. It wasn't until recently that I could get over, prevail over, conquer my teeth treatment. It was not until recently that I could conquer my teeth treatment. It wasn't until recently that I could conquer my teeth treatment. It wasn't until recently that I could conquer my teeth treatment at the dental office. Conqueror of the tournament. Conqueror of the tournament. Conqueror of the tournament. Conqueror of the district tournament was pleased with the championship, which means they got the right to play at the national tournament. The conqueror of the district tournament was pleased with the championship, which gave the team to play in the national tournament, which will be held in August. Conqueror. Conqueror of the ecosystem. Introduced species can be the conqueror in the ecosystem, which can be very troublesome problem. Introduced species have the potential to be the conqueror in the ecosystem in the nature. Introduced species has a danger of becoming the conqueror in the ecosystem. Conqueror of the territory. Conqueror of solving the problems. Conqueror of the region. Conqueror of the district. Natural disasters can be the conqueror of the region. Conqueror. 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 Conqueror of the video game. conqueror in the tourism industry, conqueror in the IoT industry, conqueror in the baseball field. The AI might be conquerors in many fields. The AI, artificial intelligence, might be the conqueror in many fields, which are affecting many current workers. AIs might be conquerors in many fields which are threatening many current workers. They are afraid of being replaced by AIs as the new workers. Conqueror. AI might be the conqueror in many fields which are threatening many workers in companies. They are frightened of being replaced by AI as new workers. Conquest of the video game. Conquest of the video game is said to be as difficult as entering the university. Conquest of our weakness, nervousness, anxiety, unrest, uneasy might only be accomplished by piling up the experiences over and over again, time and time again. Conquest. Conquest of the territory. Conquest of our weaknesses. Conquest of our weakness may be achieved by stacking up the experiences over and over again, time and time again. Conquest. Conquest of our uneasy, unrest, anxiety, weakness, weak points. Conquest of the territory. 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 Conquest. Conquest of the video game. There was a student who never bought a new one before conquest of the old one. I paid respect to him because I bought many video games before conquering them. Because I would often buy many video games Actually, I had my parents buy many video games for me before the conquest of them. Clear of them. Conquest. 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 Conquest of the southern part of the country by the military. The conquest of the northern territory is being proceeded by the military. The internet prevails. The internet prevails. The internet prevails. I'm sure that you can prevail over the difficulties, obstacles in the future. I'm sure that you can prevail over any obstacles in the future. Because you are such a strong man. I'm certain that you can prevail over any obstacles emerging in the future from now on, because you are such a strong man. I could prevail over many things, but except for injections. I could overcome, prevail over everything but injections. I could prevail over everything but doing what I'm not interested in. Devoting my life to doing what I'm not interested in. I could prevail over everything, but doing what I'm not interested in, devoting myself, my life, most of my life to doing what I'm not interested in. I could prevail over almost everything, but devoting myself most of my life to doing what I'm not interested in. The internet prevails. The internet is prevails. The internet prevails. Now that the internet prevails, that we can work from many places. The limitation of where we have to work is decreasing. More freedom we can have now thanks to the development of the internet. Now that the internet prevails, there are more options to work from home, business hotel, or anywhere with the internet. My way of thinking is totally different from prevailing ones. My ideas, way of thinking, the courses I take are totally different from prevailing ones. Prevailing ones. Prevailing ones. My way of thinking, ideas, the course I take are totally different from prevailing ones. The course I take, ideas, and my way of thinking are totally different from prevailing ones. Prevailing ones. Prevailing. 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 What is regarded as prevailing? I think the things done by the majority might be regarded as prevailing. The things done by majority might be regarded, seen, viewed as prevailing. Prevailing, prevailing, prevailing. Prevailing amount of food. Prevailing score on the test. Prevailing amount of salary. Prevailing amount of food. My way of thinking is definitely, absolutely far from prevailing. The courses I take are totally different from prevailing, far from prevailing, free of prevailing, anything but prevailing. My way of thinking is far from prevailing, anything but prevailing. The courses I take are anything but prevailing. My ideas are totally far from prevailing, anything but prevailing. Now that the internet is prevalent, there are more options to work. Now that the internet is prevalent, there are more options we can choose regarding working. With respect to working, with regard to working, in respect to working, in regard to working. Prevalent. prevalent, prevalent, prevalent. Prevalent, prevalent, prevalent. I wonder how the people in the past would react if they saw a smartphone. In those days, they didn't have them. I wonder how the people living in those days without smartphone react if they saw a smartphone. I wonder how the people in the past would react to seeing smartphones and internet. I wonder how the people living in the past would react to smartphones. I wonder how the people living in the era where the internet and smartphones were not prevalent. I wonder how the people in the past would react to smartphone. I wonder how the people in the past living in the era without smartphone react to smartphone. I wonder how the people used to live in the era without where the internet and smartphones were not prevalent react to them now if they saw them. Even small spark can provoke fire. Even subtle spark can ignite fire. Start fire. Even subtle spark can initiate fire. Even subtle spark can provoke fire. The careless remarks by the politician provoked anger from the citizens. The boxer provoked the opponent with slangs. The boxer provoked the opponent with slangs and bad words. The boxer provoked the opponent with threatening words and gesture. Provoke. Even subtle sparks can provoke fire. Even small sparks can provoke fire. Even subtle sparks can provoke fire. Even small sparks can initiate fire. Start fire. Provoke fire. Provoke. Careless, disrespectful remarks by the person provoked anger from the participants. Provoke. 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 If you keep provoking the pet dog like that, he might bite you. Nobody could allow the provoking way of apologies done by the CEO of the company. No customers could allow the disrespectful, rude, crude, provoking way of apologies done by the executives of the company for their flaws and wrongdoing and so on. It was far from apologies. No customers could allow the provoking way of apologies made by the executives of the company. Provoking tone of voice, provoking way of answering. No customers could allow the provoking way of apologies done by the executives. No customers could allow the provoking way of answering apologies made by the executives. No customers could allow the provoking way of apologies made by the executives of the company. No customers could allow the provoking way of answering and apologies made by the executives of the company. No customers could allow the provoking way of apologies made by the executives of the company. Provoking 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 attitude. The receptionist of the hotel adopted a provoking attitude towards me, so I decided not to stay there anymore. The receptionist of the hotel employed such a provoking attitude towards me. Although I was waiting in the queue, the receptionist gave priority to the person cut in on the lane suddenly. The receptionist of the hotel adopted provoking attitude towards me. Provoking. Although I was waiting in the queue, she gave priority to the person cutting on the lane, cutting on the lane. Queue. Provoking. The receptionist of the hotel adopted such a provoking attitude towards me. After the stay of the hotel, I checked the review of the hotel. As I guessed, there were many bad reviews against the provoking attitude of the receptionist. Provoking attitude of the staff. Provoking way of press conference. Provoking way of answering. Provoking answering made by the executives to escape from having the responsibility, holding responsibility. A provoking way of answering in order to avoid having responsibility of what they have done. Provoking. The boxer was delivering a speech, delivering a comment towards the opponent provokingly. The hooligans were listening to the lecture provokingly, staring at the teacher. Provokingly. The boxer was staring at the opponent provokingly, which was about to start a fight between the two, but the worst situation could be escaped. Provokingly. The boxer was giving a comment toward the opponent provokingly. The way of the executive is apologizing provokingly, raised anger, outrage from the citizens, customers. The way of the executive is apologizing provokingly, raised anger, outrage, rage, resentment from the customers, provokingly. There are some customers craving provokingly. There are some customers claiming provokingly. Provokingly. Some people express their anger by many ways. What do you think of his way of reply? Are you irritated by late reply? Are you easy to be irritated by late reply? Are you easy to be irritated by late reply? Late reply. Are you easy to be irritated by late reply? Are you easy to be irritated by late reply? The CEO of the company replied that he didn't know the wrongdoing done by the subordinates. The executives of the company replied they would do their best in order to return and recover the confidence from customers. The executives of the company replied in the press conference that they would do their best, utmost effort, in order to recover the confidence from the customers. The executives replied at the press conference that they would do their best as possible as they could, so as to recover confidence from the customers. As although it is already 7 days a week from when I sent the message to my friend, she hasn't replied yet. Although I sent a message a week ago, she hasn't replied yet. I asked if I could go to the beach with him. He replied, yes. I asked if we go to Universal Studios Japan together. She replied, no way. I asked if we could go to Tokyo Disneyland together. She replied, insane. Out of the question. I asked if we I asked if we could go to Tokyo Disneyland with her. She replied, yes. I asked if we can go to Universal Studios Japan with her on Sunday. She replied, not Sunday. I asked if we could go to USJ on Sunday. She replied, not Sunday. Neither you nor I am responsible for the problem. Neither you nor I have the privilege to take the train for free. Neither you nor I can understand what the professor was explaining. I can understand neither the equation nor the physics. I like neither sea nor mountain. Some people like neither swimming in the sea nor climbing the mountains. The athlete doing his effort a lot in order to get medal got nor gold nor got neither gold nor silver medal. My boss required more rational plan from me, meaning I had to rewrite my proposal again. Rational, rational, rational. Rational. Rational production line. AIs and machines will make the production more rational. At the same time, many workers might be feared of their layoff. Rational. Rational way of thinking. Rational. When it comes to making a decision, which do you prioritize more? Instinct or logic? Rational. Dropping the order from my customer at the post office on my way to work is very rational, isn't it? Depositing the order from my customer at the post office on my way to workplaces is rational, isn't it? The space probe succeeding in coming back from the asteroid after gathering the particles from the asteroid prove that their technology, effort, and everything were rational. The space probe succeeding in coming back from the asteroid after gathering particles from the asteroid means everything was rational. 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 The prices in the restaurant were far from rational. Challenging the advanced course for the first time with that experience is irrational. Taking the advanced course for the first time with that experience is not rational. Rationalism, idealism, rationalism. Rationalism might make the production more efficient, but at the same time, which might lead to less treatment of originality of each employee. Rationalism. People with rationalism. Policy of rationalism might make the efficiency of the production better, but at the same time, each originality of the employees might be less treated, made light of. Rationalism of the system will make the production line more efficient, but at the same time, which might lead to making light of each individual of the employees. Rationalism of the system of the company might help the company to have the better production and efficiency, but at the same time, which might lead to making light of the originality of each employee. Rationalism. Company policy of rationalism. 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 People with rationalism. People with rationalism. I'm more of rationalism recently. And she is not so much as she is not so much as a teacher but a nurse. She is not so much as a nurse but a teacher. She is not so much as a teacher but a nurse. I feel more of hot than cold. It tastes more of salty than sweet for me. The curry tastes more of spicy than sweet for me. Rationalism. I tend to be more of rationalism than idealism recently. I try to be rationalism. The policy and the system that many companies follow might be rationalism. Many companies might adopt rationalism to have better efficiency. Rationalism. Many companies might employ rationalism. Rationalism. Rationalize production line by introducing AI and machines will increase more and more from now on, which is threatening workers. The specialized car is clearing the road of snow. The specialized car is clearing the road of snow before the rush hour. Rationalize. Don't even try to rationalize what you have done. It is obviously your fault. Your fault. Flaws. Deficit. Defect. Rationalize. 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 How dare the executives of the company could rationalize the wrongdoings, obvious wrongdoings? How dare the executives of the company could rationalize the wrongdoings at the current press conference? How dare the executives of the company could rationalize what they did? They are obviously wrongdoings. Nobody can allow. Rationalize. The kid being late for school tried to rationalize what he did. The kid was trying to rationalize why he was late for school. The kid was trying to rationalize what he hadn't done homeworks. Rationalize. Rationalize production line with the introduction of AI and machines. The introduction of AI, machines, and new technologies will increase in many production and services, which is affecting many workers, threatening many workers. Rationalize. The kid was trying to rationalize the late for school. The kid was striving to rationalize what he had been late for school. The kid was attempting to rationalize what he had been late for school. The student, the kid, was striving to rationalize what he hadn't done homeworks to the teacher. The kid was attempting to rationalize what he had not done his homeworks. The kid was trying to rationalize what he hadn't done his homeworks. Rationalize, 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 rationalize. Rationalize. Rationalize, rationalize. Rationalize production line. Rationalize distribution line. Rationalizing distribution with the help of drones will be accelerated from now on. Rationalizing distribution with the help of drones will be accelerated from now on. Rationalize, rationalize. Rationalizing distribution methods with the help of drones and other new technologies, machines, will be accelerated. New technologies such as drones will accelerate the distribution method. New technologies such as drones will accelerate the rationalization of distribution. New technologies such as drones will accelerate rationalizing distribution method. Rationalize. The kid was striving to rationalize what he had not done his homework. The kid was trying to rationalize what he had not done his homework. Rationalization. 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 Rationalization of why he had not done his homework. Rationalization why he did not do his homework. Rationalization of the distribution method. Rationalization, 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 rationalization of the reason why he didn't do his homework. Rationalization, rationalization, rationalization. Rationalization. Rationalization, rationalization, rationalization. Rationalization might sound great, but at the same time, there are always both merits and demerits. Rationalization of the system will be more efficient in many fields, but at the same time, rationalization might lead to making light of each individual of the employee. It is ideal to find our passion, enthusiasm, what we really want to do before graduating from school, before entering society, because we can have it as our profession, maybe. Ideal. It is ideal to find our passion, enthusiasm, what we can really be into before entering society. Are you idealistic or realistic? We are idealistic. Idealist. Are you idealist? Are you an 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 idealist? Idealist. Are you an idealist? Are you an idealist? Idealist. The idealist aims for the world without war and nuclear weapons. The idealist aims for the society without predicaments, hardships, difficulties, and so on. The idealist aims for the society without unrest. Idealist. The idealists aim for better environment in the working places. The entity is composed of idealists aiming for the same purpose of making the working environment better. The organization is made up of idealists aiming for improving the working environment. Idealist, idealist, or realist, idealist, idealist, and realist. Idealist. Are you an idealist? Are you an idealist? Are you an idealist? Idealist. Are you an idealist? Are you an idealist? Idealist. Are you an idealist? Idealist. Are you an idealist? Are you an idealist? Hmm. Idealistic. Idealistic way of thinking. My idea was criticized as too much idealistic thinking. Idea. My ideas were criticized as too much idealistic. My idea was criticized as too much idealistic. Idealistic. My idea was criticized as too much idealistic. My idea was criticized as too much idealistic. My idea was criticized as too much idealistic. 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 My idea was criticized as too much idealistic. Idealistic way of thinking. Idealistic idea. Idealistic transportation system without problems. Idealistic transportation method without traffic congestion. Idealistic transportation system. Idealistic way of transportation systems without traffic congestion, troubles, accidents, and so on. Idealistic idea of transportation, public transportation without traffic congestion, accidents, and so on. Idealistic, 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 idealistic. Idealistic. Idealistic attitude. Idealistic side. Are you on idealistic side? Are you on my side? Are you on idealistic or realistic side? Are you on idealistic side? Are you on idealistic side regarding the working environment? Are you idealistic side regarding the efficiency of the production? Idealistic. Idealize the way of living, criticize right now. The way of life, criticized now, might be idealized in the future. The way of living, criticized right now, might be idealized in the future. People living in the past will not idealize the way of living right now, because it's totally different. Nobody could have idealized what we are having life with in the past. No one could have predicted the current society in the past. Idealize. The things regarded as crazy might be idealized in the future. The things viewed as crazy might be idealized in the future. The things seen as crazy might be idealized in the future. The things seen as crazy might be idealized in the future. Idealize. The things regarded as crazy might be idealized in the future. Being patient might be regarded as ideal. Being patient and stick to something might be idealized now in the society. Being patient and sticking with something until the end might be idealized. Being patient, although it is too hard and mentally unhealthy, might be regarded as ideal in some community. Being patient, even with mental problem, might be idealized in some community. Being patient under toxic environment might be idealized in some company. Having the sports meeting on Sunday will be ideal, but due to the weather condition, it might be changed to the next week. Ideally, the sports meeting should have been held on Sunday, but due to the inclement weather, it was postponed until next week. Ideally. Ideally. Ideally, the sports meeting taking place on Sunday was best, but due to the inclement weather, which we couldn't help, it was postponed, put off until next week. Ideally, I wanted to enter the company, but I was rejected, kicked out, pushed out. So I entered the second wanting company. Ideally, 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 ideally. Ideally. In order to be able to perform ideally, I prepare 120% perfectly beforehand. So as to perform ideally in front of the audience, I have 120% perfect practice beforehand, ideally. Performing ideally under much pressure is very difficult. Performing ideally as we think in front of a lot of audiences is very difficult. Performing ideally as we think, as we predict, anticipate, expect, under much pressure is super difficult. I used to indulge in playing video games a lot, which I regret. 10 hours at the longest. I used to indulge in playing video games so long time. I used to indulge in playing video games a lot. I really regret having played video games so long time when I was a student. I really regret having played many video games when I was a kid, which decreased my studying time because I do not like studying. I used to indulge in playing video games, including role-playing game, action, simulation, car racing, and so on. Almost everything. Indulge in. It's very important and ideal to find something that you can indulge in before entering society. Finding out something you can indulge in as a profession is very important before entering society. Finding out the one you can indulge in as your profession is very important before graduation, and teachers should help the student find out them. I used to indulge in playing video games. I would often indulge in playing video games. I would often indulge in playing video games. As a proverb goes, the parents want their children to be to experience hardships in society, even for a fee. As a proverb goes, Parents want their children to experience hardships in society, even for a fee. Indulging children is not good. If the parents indulge their children too much, they will be selfish. I was indulged a lot by getting me a lot of video games. I was indulged by getting me a lot of video games, which made me what I am now. We tend to indulge ourselves in some things. We tend to indulge ourselves by escaping from predicaments, hardships. Don't indulge your children, kids, yourself. I tend to indulge myself after examinations. I am apt to indulge myself after examinations or after achieving something my goals. Yes, I am inclined to indulge myself after achieving my goals, norms, and so on. Indulge. Indulge. The kid grew up to be selfish because he was indulged by his parents. The person was brought up to be selfish for being spoiled, being indulged by his parents a lot. The person grew up to be selfish on account of indulgence, owing to indulgence, for being indulged. Those who have been indulged in school days might find difficult in society. Those who were indulged in their teenagers might find difficulties in society. Many parents might be indulging their children. Many parents might be indulging their children too much. Many parents might be indulging their kids. I was indulged by giving me a lot of video games. I was indulged by getting me a lot of video games, which I regret, because most of the video games I was given were sold for very cheap prices. Indulgence. Eating sweets and drinking 2 cups of coffee are my indulgence in a day for the lunch. Sleeping to my heart's content is my indulgence on weekends. Sleeping until limitation, until the time I can sleep up to, is my indulgence on weekends. Indulgence. The selfishness The selfishness of the person is the outcome of indulgence from their parents. His selfish personality is the outcome, result, from the indulgence from the parents. The selfish personality is the outcome of the indulgence from their parents. Indulgence. Sleeping about for 10 minutes in the car is the indulgence for the employee during the lunch break. Sleeping 10 to 15 minutes in his car is his only indulgence from work during the lunch break. Sleeping is the only indulgence in a day for some people. Sleeping might be the best indulgence in a day. Sleeping might be the best indulgence in a day. Indulgence. Indulgence. His selfish personality is the outcome of the indulgence from his parents. His selfish personality is the outcome of the indulgence from his parents. Indulgence of kids, indulgence of children, indulgence of ourselves, indulgence. Sleeping to our heart's content will be the indulgence of many salaried workers. Sleeping to our heart's content will be the indulgence of many salaried workers on weekends. Indulgence. And fishing might be one of the most popular indulgences of work for many people. Swimming in the sea or climbing mountains might be indulgent for some people. Sleeping to our heart's content will be many people's indulgence of work. Sleeping to our heart's content on weekends must be many people's indulgence. Sleeping until late on day offs might be many people's indulgence. Sleeping to our heart's content Our heart's content on weekends will be the indulgence of many peoples. Indulgence. Indulgence. No more flatteries, please. I am tired of getting flatteries. I'd like all of you to tell the truth, true opinions, in order to improve my skills. Flattery, compliment, flattery, 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 flattery. The person was getting many flatteries from his relatives, cousins. People might say only flatteries in front of the person, but they criticize or speak badly of the person behind his or her back, behind his or her back. Few people might say true opinions in front of the person in order to avoid breaking the atmosphere. Few people might say true opinions in front of the person in order to avoid breaking the atmosphere. Flattery, 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 flattery. The society might be filled with flatteries, compliments. The society might be crowded with flatteries, packed with flatteries. Don't flatter me anymore. I am tired of getting flatteries. I am tired of being flattered. What do you think of those flattering others all the time? What do you think of those flattering their bosses? Irritating? What do you think of those flattering their bosses all the time? What do you think of those flattering others in order to avoid mistakes and so on? Stop flattering me. Stop flattering me. What do you think of those flattering others? 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 All the time. What do you think of those flattering their boss? What do you think of flattering his or her boss? All the time. Flatter, 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 flatter. Stop flattering others, but say true opinions. Many people will flatter others in front, but many of them will speak badly of them behind his or her back. Flattering expression, flattering treatment, flattering treatment of somebody. Flattering, 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 flattering. Flattering, flattering. flattering comment, flattering comment, flattering compliment, flattering introduction, too much flattering introduction. Thank you for your flattering introduction, flattering comments, flattering introduction, flattering introduction, flattering introduction, flattering introduction, flattering introduction, flattering introduction. From facilitator. Flattering, flattering. Flattering, 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 flattering comments. Do you also get many flattering comments from your friends, relatives, cousins, passers-by, pedestrians? Flattering, flattering comments, flattering introduction, flattering introduction, flattering. Do you find it flattering to be said sensei, teacher, professor, and so on? Do you find it flattering to be called professor? Flattering words. Flattering, flattering, flattering words. Don't say flattering things, but tell me true opinions. Flattering things. That's quite flattering. Flattering comments. Flattering, flattering, flattering. It's not prudent to approach coastline when typhoon is approaching. It is not prudent to approach coastline when typhoon is approaching. It is prudent of you to avoid taking the route at the local spirit. It is prudent of you to check the numbers 5 times in a row in order to avoid making a mistake, because it was a big deal. It is prudent of you to check the numbers 5 times in a row to make sure. It is prudent of you to check to make sure that all of the doors are locked before you leave, because one of the doors were unlocked. If you had left your house without noticing it, someone might have burgled your house. Your house might have been burgled. Prudent, 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 prudent. Prudent. Prudent, 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 prudent. The cook was preparing and cooking the cuisine with utmost prudence. Prudence, prudence. Even working on something with utmost prudence, people can make a mistake, because we are not perfect. That's why we are human. Not being perfect means we are human. Prudence, 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 prudence. Even with utmost prudence, we can make a mistake. Even with utmost prudence, we can make a mistake. Even with utmost prudence, we can make a mistake. Even with utmost prudence, we can make a mistake. I usually drive my car with utmost prudence to make sure of my safety. I definitely, absolutely, upside down, inside out, drive my car with prudence. I drive my car, park my car with prudence. When it comes to parking my car, I do it with utmost prudence in order to avoid scratching the cars next to me. In order to avoid bumping into the cars next to me. Prudence, 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 prudence. I have been coherent since when I was 12 years old. I decided to study English forever, little by little, gradually. I haven't changed my mind, meaning I am coherent. The coherent explanation of the professor helped me understand the equation better. Coherent policy, coherent way of thinking, coherent educational style, coherent educational style, coherent style, coherent character, way of thinking, coherent way of thinking, coherent procedure, coherent procedure. Disposing of plastic bottles. Coherent procedures of coping with crimes from customers. Coherent procedures. Coherent procedures of dealing with claims from customers. Coherent. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.